let's see if they'll have a tremendous show. The London game, Jaguars, Bills. The Bills, all cylinders right now. They are blowing teams out. They are balling. Josh Allen had a terrible first game with turnovers, but it's been balling since. Probably your lead for MVP right now.
Yep.
Bills favored in that game minus 5.5, over under 48.5. Buffalo minus 250 money line. Jacksonville plus 200 on the money line. Barrett, I'll start with you again. Jacksonville, I had them in the AFC Championship game. They've been a straight out disappointment. 2-2. Trevor Lawrence hasn't looked like that dude. Hasn't taken that Carson Wentz second year step that I thought he would make with Doug Peterson, because Doug has done that before. What do you see from this game?
I see this as a game that I'm going with Buffalo. I'm going with the points. I just really think that they're just hitting on all cylinders. The defense I thought was shabby have turned around and now playing great defense that can rush the passer.
Von Miller might play,
and he might play. That's and I'm just very, very much so disappointed in the likes of even Calvin Ridley and Christian Kirk. They've got guys that can go out there and be major forces. Travis Etienne.
Your boy. You bet on him every week. You can't stop now.
Yes.
You can't stop now. You got to continue to bet him.
I do, man. I do. But I can't get it. I don't know what Dougie's got going on right now. They're losing and they can't stop the bleeding. And I just think that the Bills are just a superior team. So when you go with Josh Allen for 250, I'm going with the over there. He's going to throw for way more than that. Just because the Diggs is going to cry until he does. You know what I'm saying? So and Gabe Davis is such a big target and so fast. The 51.5 yards, that's a safe bet also.
Okay.
So this, your same game parlays, this will be a great game for that.
Yeah.
Being on a Bills specific side.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree. Jacksonville's pass defense isn't that great. They're allowing over 96 rating to wide receivers. So you look at guys like Stephon Diggs had 120 yards last week. Gabe Davis has scored in 3 straight games for Buffalo. Like, any props involving Buffalo's receivers,
right,
I think are great. But Barrett, your guy Travis Etienne, it's tradition now.
Yes.
Every time the Jags play, like we just have to keep betting Travis Etienne.
It's got to be your bonus bet. It's got to be your bonus bet.
We've got to do it.
And I am going to do it, but 63 yards. It's just too many. 63 yards, and then you got Calvin really for 63.5.
Bailing on your boy.
Christian Kirk.
Bailing on you. I don't want to hear that, B. Brooks. Bailing on your boy.
But Barrett, listen to this. So Buffalo, they gave up 6 yards per carry to Miami on the ground. Yeah. I'm going to find a reason to push this Travis Etienne prop until it actually hits.
Right.
Trust me.
I got to keep going with it.
Could be his game. That's all I'm saying. But yeah, Calvin Ridley has also been a disappointment for the Jags. He hasn't really had a breakout game. He did have a touchdown last week. But I don't see, the Buffalo secondary allowing Calvin Ridley to have his breakout game be in week 5.
Yeah. I think we're all on Buffalo. The only thing that makes me nervous is it being in Jacksonville, it being a little bit different. You know what I mean? It's like those Thursday night games or those random games where you're like, I don't know. You know what I mean? They may win, but do they get their statistics that they normally get because things are a little weird and awkward and
they're coming off a big win.
Right.
Yeah.
And also, Jacksonville, that's like their home stadium. They go over every year. They've been over there every single year that they've had a game over there.
Well, and they stayed there from last week, I believe.
Right. So they're it's like their home stadium, so that I actually think that they're gonna be Jacksonville.
I didn't realize they stayed out there. And
yeah, they're gonna be in London, so they're gonna be a London team. Once we do have NFL teams there, they're gonna be.
Do you think Jacksonville's gonna move to London?
Oh, it's no question.
Seems like that's the plan.
Yeah, the London Jaguars. Ain't no damn Jaguars in London. There's none in.
Nah, they got to change their name
either. But
the London Croissants. They got to change their name.
I think that's more Paris over London.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Everything over there is the same to me.
I think you do the London fish and chips,
the London
pints of beer,
the London bruvs. You know what I mean? It's got to be something like that. I don't know. But, again.
The London Towers.
Right? That makes sense.
Or Bridge. No, Bridge.
London Bridge.
Both.
Yeah. Bridge, yeah.
Yeah, the
London
Tower
Bridge.
Bridge.
Eiffel
Tower
Tower.
Bridge.
The London Tower bridges. You know what I mean?
Now we're just naming European landmarks.
If the listener
The
knows in
Colosseum.
London, you don't like us right now.
The London Top Boys.
Exactly. All right, we're going to move on to some more stuff. Again, surprising team in the Texans. We'll talk about them and the Falcons, Panthers, Lions. Plenty more games to come on the Sunday spread. We'll be right back. Once again, welcome back to the Sunday spread. Devan, Kaney, Sean Bell, Barrett Brooks, giving you the best of the best. And apparently we don't know anything about London and what we should be calling London and certain names, whether it's Australian or French. It is what it is. All right. It's London. It's over there across the pond. I know that phrase is correct. Yeah. Across the pond. Okay. Yeah. Of course, presented by BetMGM on the BetQL network. Let's get to this next game. Let's get to the Texans Falcons. The Texans, I thought they were a terrible organization. They look like a good, solid team that really competes. DeMeco Ryans, shout out to him, has done a great job in getting it done with this team and making them look like a really good team with a rookie quarterback that's putting up great rookie numbers. I mean, you go back to Cam Newton and how Cam Newton started in his rookie year and a lot of other big-time quarterbacks. He's doing just that. But the Falcons are favored in this game, of course, because it's in Atlanta. -1.5. The over-under is 41.5. Money line -125 for Atlanta. Houston +105. Dev, what you got in this?
So I don't know what to make of this Texans team. I'm happy for them. Like, they're so much improved, and they continue to improve each and every week. This spread is so small. So, like, my gut tells me that the Falcons can win and cover because it's 1.5. Mm-hmm. You look at Atlanta's strength, it's running the ball. Bijan Robinson has been amazing, and that's what the Texans probably have the hardest time, especially defensively, stopping consistently is the run. But they continue to improve every week. So I do feel like they do a good job because they're now well coached of improving, what needs improvement. There's no way they're going into this game in Atlanta, not working on how to stop the run when you've got to face guys like Bijan Robinson and that super mobile offense. That being said, I just get a feeling that I think the Falcons are going to keep this one close. I'm happy the Texans are much improved, and I know that this is not a popular opinion because everyone's like all in on the Texans now. I think the Falcons can win this one.
Okay, Barrett?
I think DeMeco Ryans has done a hell of a job in really getting those guys pointed in the right direction. The way they're playing right now, they're not playing like they're a rookie team, with a rookie coach. They're actually playing very, very well. So I like what they're doing. And C.J. Stroud he's hosing it, man. Mm-hmm. He is hosing that ball around. He's got some guys that he favors, and I like what they're doing. So when I look at this game, and then I look at Atlanta with Bijan, they have so much talent on that team that's being wasted, man.
Free Kyle Pitts.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah,
free Kyle Pitts, man.
I mean, how is he not a major factor in their offense? How come Drake London is not a major factor in that offense?
You know why?
Because Desmond Ridder can't throw it.
You know why? That's the simple answer. Yeah. It's awful, and that's why I have the Texans in this game, because you add what DeMeco Ryans has been able to do. Again, the last 2 weeks, they beat the Steelers and Jaguars, two teams that we thought are good teams. Now, the Steelers, who knows? Jaguars, still, who knows? Both 2-2 teams, but solid enough, and the Texans have embarrassed both. They beat the Jaguars 37-17. They beat the Steelers 30-6. Defensively, DeMeco Ryans has that defense humming. So, again, if better quarterbacks couldn't get it done, I'm going to expect Desmond Ridder to go in there and light it up. Again, I know Kenny Pickett is whatever, and he got hurt. Trevor Lawrence hasn't had a great season, but still he won last week.
Well, but that's a reason why I was kind of like, okay, I think the Falcons could win this one or at least keep it. Well, yeah, win because they're favorites. Because that Trevor Lawrence, like, they're pass-heavy quarterbacks. This is the first run-heavy quarterback the Texans defense has faced. And I think Bijan Robinson and even Desmond Ridder can, make progress on the ground against the Texans defense. But I don't know. I want CJ Stroud to succeed. I like that he's, improved, especially from the start of the season. But
yeah, again,
I just think the Falcons can do it.
All right. I just can't.
If I'm wrong, you can hold me accountable for that.
It's Desmond Ridder. I don't.
But it's not him. It's Bijan Robinson. It's Tyler Algier. It's every other person who can run on the Falcons offense is basically what I'm trying to say I'm betting on. It's not Desmond Ridder. Because when the Falcons offense succeeds, it's not him. It's who he's giving the ball to on the ground for the most part.
Yeah, it's fair. I mean, safe to say it's a who cares game.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Nobody's watching. It's a red zone. It's one of those. The game ended, and you like, oh, who won? Oh, all right.
Well, I do like watching C.J. Stroud and how he's throwing it around. So.
Yeah,
he's balling. He's balling. Let's get to the next game. Panthers at Detroit. Panthers 0-4. I mean, they are, I guess, not in for Caleb Williams, but some team will be asking for that pick. And they don't have their first round pick. I take that back. Doesn't Chicago have that first round pick? Kev, correct me if I'm wrong. I think you were just telling me they don't have their first round pick. Young. Yeah, they don't have their first round pick. So yeah,
they already got him, and he's not doing too well.
I know what Kev's rooting for in this game. It's at Detroit, big line, obviously, -10, over under 44. You don't even want to look at the money line because it's too big. You ain't gonna win no money betting money line unless you're betting for Carolina. That's plus 375. Barrett, what you looking at in this game? Is this just blowout? Move on.
Yeah. Simply because I just think the Lions are at a point now where they're no longer one of the bad teams. There's a certain amount of expectation that they bring to this game that they're going to play at a high level. You look at Jared Goff. I mean, over 242.5 yards passing. He'll get that. Amon-Ra's playing at a high level. He can move the chains with him anytime. And they're starting to get, Montgomery going in the right direction also. So,
you're trying to find an argument for the Panthers, but you can't.
I can't. I really can't. I'm trying to figure out what they're trying to do there. They used to have a defense. They don't have a defense anymore. The offense has been horrible. So, I mean, what are they doing there? What is that head coach going to do? I just can't see him. But, bro, Adam Thielen is their best target. And it's 52.5 yards? And what, plus 175 for a touchdown?
Yeah.
He's their only weapon.
And that ain't much of a weapon.
No
slight.
He's
slice,
old
but
now,
he ain't.
He's old
Minnesota.
Now.
Adam Thielen.
He's not him. You know what I'm saying? So, and then just with the way Detroit, Gibbs and Montgomery are playing right now, they're sprinkling a little bit of both of them. They probably have 200 yards rushing. You know what I'm saying? Or at least 175 yards rushing on them.
That's what I like is the rushing props because I think this is going to be a blowout in the first half.
Yep.
So it's going to be a whole lot of Montgomery. You know what I mean? I think Montgomery has a 100-yard day because of that. Like, okay, we're now up 21-6.
Yeah.
Run the ball.
Yep.
Run the ball.
Yeah,
all right, Montgomery, you get a break. Gibbs, come in. Run the ball. Like, I think it's going to be a whole lot of fourth quarter running, a whole lot of in the third quarter to fourth quarter running in this game. So, you know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure about all the other props, but I think that is the one player prop that I'm pretty sure about. A blowout game means the running back is going to get a lot of carries and get the carries you need to get over. I think the prop is 71.5.
And Amon-Ra will have over 70.5 passing yards.
Well, and Jamison Williams, I believe, makes his return after suspension.
Oh, that's right.
So with guys returning, I feel like there's been more and more, well, I guess because of sports betting like growing a lot and being legal, that more and more guys are getting caught. So I just feel like every week it's like, oh, he's back from suspension. Oh, he's back. But yeah, now Jamison Williams
about them. Yeah,
right.
I did too.
So it's hard to tell, like, when Guy comes back or is a new addition to the team, how big of an impact they'll have. We'll get to the Saints game and Alvin Kamara coming back as well a little later on the show. But that is just another added bonus for the Lions. The only thing so our producer Kevin said he has the Lions in Survivor pool this week. And Kevin, I haven't officially submitted them as my pick, but I'm leaning towards the Lions. The one thing that gives me pause is we saw what happened in Thursday Night Football. We see these desperate winless teams like the Panthers just pull out these heroics because the other team underestimates them as an opponent because they're so hungry for a win and to prove themselves and to prove that, they can win a football game. They're desperate. Like, if anything, that gives me pause, but it's hard to bet against the Lions in this one.
Well, I mean, they're coached by a guy who wants to bite kneecaps off. So I doubt seriously he won't have those guys going.
Yeah, he's your guy.
That's
Dan Campbell.
Dan is that dude, bro, and he meant that too. Like he'd be front and center. Like if there was a fight on the field, best believe Dan will be right in the middle of that, bro. He'll be right in the middle of that.
And then what do you think of Miles Sanders 40.5? Think about Miles Sanders going from the Eagles.
He is just not.
And having to go to the Carolina Panthers.
Yeah.
That's sometimes that's the price of getting your bread.
Well,
You're going to be stuck in a situation that is awful. And again, I like Miles Sanders. I think he was a solid player.
Yeah,
but you
he was
can't
fine.
be solid. You can't be good as a running back in that type of scenario, in that type of situation.
money, best offensive line in football. Money, best offensive line in football. I want the money. So I want the money. I'm going to be selfish. Oh, I'm going to look terrible. I'm going to look really bad, but I want the money. That's what's happening right now. He shouldn't have took the money. You know what I'm
But
saying?
I thought the Eagles also just weren't going to bring him back.
They
Well,
weren't.
because they didn't want to pay him for what he
Right,
wanted. But
right.
also, yeah. But you said his prop is 40.
40 and a half.
I think
You like that?
No, I think the Lions. No, because I think the Lions' rush defense is good or decent, and I don't think that the Panthers going to be running that much because they're going to be playing from behind.
It's like from Thursday night game.
I mean, 40's low, but
even Brian Robinson wasn't getting that in Thursday night's game because it was blowout early, so it's just going to be no running the ball,
Which is crazy.
You know what I mean? So it's just the situation that he's in. But I'm not gonna lie to you, Barrett. I would have took the money.
Yeah.
As a running back, I would have been like, I need one payday.
Yeah.
After that payday, then I'll go. I'll go back to a good team and just be a soldier and then get whatever. But one payday, just give me one.
that's something I always wonder about athletes. Like, I would and it's easy for me to say this as someone who's, never been paid to play a sport at that level, but like, I would want to play in a market that I liked, like I don't think I'd want to live in Green Bay, Wisconsin.
I played there.
No disrespect.
Yeah.
But or like Indianapolis, which I've never been to, but I've heard is just like a very boring city.
Mm-hmm.
And with a culture and team that's winning, like I just don't think it'd be fun no matter. Once you make a certain amount of millions, like, isn't it all the same? Do you really need that extra 50 mil? Like, what are you going to do with that?
Yes,
I do.
What are you going to do with that?
But I think the difference is, like, if you're basketball players, you getting $200 million, right?
Yeah.
Like, it's whatever. But I think Miles is looking at, like, all right, I'm on a rookie contract. I don't know what he got. 5-6 mil, whatever.
25. I think he got 25 for 4 or 24 for 4.
In his rookie contract?
No.
But that's what I'm saying. His rookie contract, he made like $4 million.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right? So in the next contract,
So
is
that
like,
is a big jump.
I got to go get my 25 because instead of just taking another 5, because that's the big payday. And then I'm set up for life after that if I handle it correctly. Then I'll go back to a good team.
Trust me. I messed up from this before, but I had a chance to go to Dallas, and they offered me $100,000 more than Detroit offered. And I went to Detroit.
Really?
Now, if I had it all over to do again, I'd have took my ass to Dallas.
Really?
Oh yeah, $100,000. That was, I should have took that 100.
What made you choose Detroit? Because they were better?
No, I chose not going to Dallas because I still had that innate hatred of Dallas. Like,
Oh my God, I love that though. But that's what I'm talking about. Like, I think even as a sports reporter, I don't think I could work in like Dallas, like in the market. I don't think I could do it.
I have an innate hatred with Dallas still, and it so much that it's bad because I turned down $100,000. My agent was hot.
Hey,
He was pissed.
I'm taking that money for one contract. Let's get to the next game before we got to go on this segment. Let's go to Titans Colts. Both 2-2. Tennessee Titans -2.5 over under 43. Money line 145 for Tennessee. Money line for Indy +120. Dev, that's how I'm looking at this game.
I look at it as the Titans remain one of the most confusing teams in the league. I mean, they look like one of the worst teams, and then they, dismantled the Cincinnati Bengals, and it's like, are the Bengals bad, or are the Titans really good all of a sudden? Is it Joe Burrow's injury? Like, I don't know. Derrick Henry returned to form. We saw him have his first 100-yard game of the season. The Colts defense is pretty mediocre, and I think that Ryan Tannehill can take advantage of that. So I do think the Titans can continue to look pretty good and confusing, even more confusing. I don't love this game though. I really don't. It's just not appealing to me. I don't know if you guys agree.
No, I'm with you on that.
I'm with you on it also. When would there be a day that I would see DeAndre Hopkins for yardage 33.5,
Yeah.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah. I literally thought he might be like injured or something. Because I was like, that doesn't seem right.
Right.
Just the place he shouldn't have gone. So who you got winning that game before we go?
I'm going to go Titans. Because, I mean, even though Richardson played well, I like the Titans in this game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And 2.5.
I would go with the Titans, too. Just it's the well-coached team.
Yep.
You know what I mean? With veterans. That's why you picked them. But either way, this ain't again, red zone game, a game that you're not paying attention to, a game you're not going to care about.
JT not coming?
JT, he's off the board.
Yeah.
I doubt he even plays, in my opinion. Like, he might get traded. So, he might get traded in the middle of the game. Who knows? With that situation where Irsay likes to and doesn't like to do. All right, listen. This is a Sunday spread. We're going to get to some more games when we come back. Again, of course, presented by BetMGM. Once again, welcome back to the Sunday spread. Sean Bell, Barrett Brooks, Devan, Kaney, giving you the best of the best. Of course, presented by BetMGM on the BetQL network. Running through these games, running through these picks. Again, week 4 was tough for us, but week 5 is going to be a great one. And this is the bet that I'm just like, this is out of here. I'm going to win money on this bet. It's going to fuel me on every other bet because it's a no-brainer. Giants, Dolphins. The 1-3 Giants going to Miami. Money line is 12.5, it says right now. Now, I picked this earlier this week because I was scared it was going to go up. So it was 10.5 when it first came out. It has moved up to 12.5. So I got it at 10.5.
That's great
and I
work
said,
by you.
$50. Just put it on there.
That's
the Giants
good.
Give up
Good
everything.
foresight.
$1 million. Miami's coming off an L. They're pissed off. At home, pissed off. What do you think's going to happen in this game?
No question.
To me, there's no questions. It's double digits.
No question.
We got to score 50 on these bum Giants who have a terrible. First of all, the Giants may have, again, I am 39 years old, may have the last 5 years the worst offensive line play I've ever seen in my 39 years of living. Like a stretch of terrible offensive line. Whatever you think of Daniel, when I was watching the highlights, I was like, yo, he has no time.
Nope.
And then I think to myself, Saquon, you thought Saquon had to work magic with this offensive line to even get whatever he ever gets behind that offensive line. But again, 12.5 now. Over under is 47.5. I might go over on that just based off I think Miami scores 40 in this game. Miami plus 475. Giants minus 650 money line. Dev, I'll start with you. What do you say about this?
So my question for the room is, do you feel more confident in the Dolphins or the Lions? You know, we just talked about that game, and this feels like a very similar game where it's one team in a very desperate situation, which is the Giants versus a team that is probably going to win by double digits. But based on what we saw Thursday night, based on how, inconsistent a lot of teams have been this season, there's a little teeny tiny part of me that's like, what if? But no, they're playing at home. The Giants are not good. I totally agree with you with the offensive line. Do we know if Saquon's playing in this? He's still out. I know he was like
Saquon playing is they're starting.
They're encouraged.
Left tackle.
No guarantee, but they're encouraged that he's going to play.
I mean, either way, I don't think that it's not going to.
Is the starting left tackle playing?
Really matter much to this.
Doubtful.
Yeah.
He's listed as doubtful.
That means he'll play then. If he's doubtful, that means you'll play.
But yeah, no, I don't really see a way that the Giants can win this one. I don't know if I'm going to go as far to say, Miami minus 12.5. Like, you're smart for taking it earlier in the week when it was smaller, even though they very well could. Like, there's a team that put up 70 points a couple weeks ago. Yeah. It's just like, how many 70-point games does one offense have in themselves? But yeah, I like the Dolphins in this one.
I just don't understand how Tua yard is 196.5 when you've got potentially two guys that could have 100 by themselves, and Waddle and Hill.
Well, maybe Hill they don't think he's going to throw it a lot because they'll be up by so much. I don't know.
Listen, I'm so confident. I think he's going to have 200 in the first half.
But
you think?
I'm going a parlay of the money line with Tua going over 200 and with Raheem Mostert going over 48.5.
Oh. Kevin, our producer, said he had them switch by accident. So Tua's 230. That explains it.
Tua's 233.
Because I was like, wait, that doesn't seem right. Daniel Jones is 196.
Okay, all right. Well, you know what?
Under.
I'll still go with the over, and I'll also go with the 12.5. But a sure bet, probably the surest bet you're gonna get is Wan'Dale Robinson, 34.5. He showed his butt the last 3 games. He is their go-to receiver, and he'll have more than 34.5. I'm more comfortable with 34.5 than I am with Darren Waller, who balled this last game with 41.5. So I'm going with receiving yards. Wan'Dale Robinson, he's definitely gonna get over 34.5.
That's fair. And again, I got the over with the 47.5 because the Dolphins' defense ain't very good either. Nope. So it may be 40 to 15, 40 to 14, but that'll be enough. And to answer your questions, I'm more confident in this game than the Carolina-Detroit game.
You are.
Just because I think Miami's pissed off. Like coming off a loss,
right?
To a divisional opponent, how they came off of that loss, I think they're going to be pissed off. Let's go to the next one. Saints-Patriots. Patriots, big loss. Their cornerback, who was on their way to win Defensive Rookie of the Year, absolutely special. Gonzalez, it seems like he's going to be out for the season. So, the one thing good about New England was their defense, and it's weaker today than it was last week. Again, facing the Saints, who are 2-2. Saints favored in this game, only -1. So it's, sort of a pick'em game. 39.5 over under. Dev, what you like there?
I like the under, even though the total is pretty low. Oof. I mean, both these teams are. You look at the Saints; they didn't reach the end zone last game, and the Patriots literally switched their quarterbacks in the third quarter because they're losing so badly and doing so poorly. So, and they had the Patriots have a really good defense. So I just don't see it being a super high scoring game. Not necessarily. I don't want to take props away from the defensive skill of these teams, but I also think both offenses just are inconsistent and aren't going to put up that many points. Right. I don't know if we've gotten confirmation on if Derek Carr, he's off the board. He didn't look right clearly last week. Alvin Kamara had a pretty solid return though. And because of that and the mess that seems to be the Pats offense, especially with the Mac Jones, they put in Bailey Zappi last week. I kind of like the Saints in this one. I do. I think they can get it done.
I'm with you also. I'm with the Saints also. They just, to me, I just think they have more weapons to bring, to the gunfight. You know what I'm saying? They got more pistols to bring to the gunfight. They just have more. Chris Olave, really, really good player. Michael Thomas is, I think, back to what we've seen in the past. I don't know about Parker. I don't know. I know Henry. That's a safe bet. With Hunter Henry 36.5, I would go with that. But I don't know who's going to be starting a quarterback if they want to put Derek Carr back out there because he just didn't look right in the game at all. So yeah, they still have somebody that can behind him that can hose it too. Throw the ball around. So even though if Carr doesn't play, they got a backup that's just good enough to get that offense going and pointing in the right direction. I just don't have any faith in the Patriots. They made me look real bad this last game against Dallas.
It's gonna be a 20-9 game.
Yeah.
Right. I think I'm with you. You said the under, and I was like, but it's 39.5. But
yeah.
Now that we talk more, it's like
right. Right. When you look at it, you're like, well, who else is how are they going to get points on the board?
That sounds legitimate right there. 20-9. That sounds so legitimate.
That sounds right.
I'm with you. Alvin Kamara may get a tutty, but that's it. I don't.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I see field goals in this game, 2 good defenses, and also I'm with y'all on the Saints actually winning this game because,
Kevin, our producer, says since he put the rundown together, the line has switched back to the Pats, so it's just switching back and forth.
Yeah. But it's one of those games. It doesn't make you're not going to go money line with the one. You just pick who you think is going to win and stick with it. So
I'll probably just do props for this one. Honestly, I might do Alvin Kamara over 58.5 rushing yards. Maybe anytime. Yeah.
I'm scared to do props. I think I'm just going away from this game. All the way.
Just not touching it. That's
just not
okay.
touching it. Let's go to the next ones. Ravens Steelers.
This used to be the game of all games.
It ain't this week. Baltimore favored 4.5 over under 38. Baltimore minus 210, Pitt 170 on the money line. The Steelers stunk last week. You know what I mean? They just absolutely stunk. We don't know what we're going to get from them. Kenny Pickett is now out. No, actually, he said he was going to play. He did say he was going to play this week. That's what he said when he was interviewed. So Kenny Pickett, I guess, is allegedly going to play, but he's going to be hobbled. The Ravens have been really good defensively, but again, the Steelers have been disappointing. But I don't see, at the same time, I think it'll be a better effort because I don't see your boy Mike Tomlin allowing that type of effort.
He's got to stop the bleeding. He's got to stop the bleeding. So he's got to make sure that he get these guys going in the right direction. How can he do that? Well, Kenny Pickett's got to find George Pickens. I mean, that connection hasn't gone. Their offense has been putrid, and it's all because of Canada. Canada cannot call an offense to save his life.
He's been getting roasted.
How is he still the offensive coordinator from last year?
He's been getting roasted.
As he should. How is he still the offensive coordinator? I don't understand it. I mean, this guy has been horrible. I mean, it's not like he don't have weapons. He has weapons on his team, and they're just not using them. I don't know, man. No running game. They, Najee Harris. Come on, man. You got to get him going. You got to get him going. I don't know, man.
So who do you like to win this game? Go ahead. Go against your blood.
I got to, man.
I could go against it. Go against your Super Bowl squad.
I'm going with Lamar Jackson.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
He'll have 200 yards passing. He'll have 200 yards passing.
But to who? Because the Ravens have so many injuries. I think Lamar, of course, is incredible and he can get it done himself. But when it comes to his receivers, he has Zay Flowers, he's Mark Andrews. They really stepped up.
All right, that's it.
That's literally it.
That's it.
And against a Steelers defense, it's pretty good. It's a big rivalry. I think that the Steelers can cover. I know that a lot of people disagree with me on that. You mentioned Mike Tomlin. I think he's one of the best coaches in the NFL.
Yep.
We've seen the Steelers bounce back after losses before, especially against a Ravens team that is suffering a ton of injuries, especially on the offensive side of the ball, where Lamar Jackson doesn't have that many options to get it to. I think, and they're playing at home. The Steelers are playing at home. I think they can cover that 4.5-point spread.
Well, then you have to say Lamar Jackson 46.5. You would have to go with that. That'd be a great prop, simply because we know he's going to win this game by any means necessary.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
If it takes him running, he's going to run. And that's why I could say him over 46.5.
And I don't believe the Steelers are super great against the run, especially a mobile quarterback. So, yeah, I like that 46.5.
I'm with it. I'm with the cover too. 24-20 is my prediction.
Steelers?
The Ravens.
Okay.
So a slight cover. Just getting under 24-20. Lamar Jackson does go for over 46.5 rushing and gets a rushing TD in this game because he has to do everything. So that's what I like in this game. That's where I'm going. And could be a bonus bet. I'll tell you what my bonus bet is later. We all will, but could be a bonus bet to get to. But we got to take a break. When we come back, we got to talk about, we're in Philadelphia. So we got to talk about the Eagles. We got to talk about the Rams. You would think this is a slam dunk, but they just went to overtime with Washington. So it's a game that we need to talk about, all right?
Don't remind us.
This is the Sunday Spread presented by BetQL. Sean Bell, Devan Kaney, Barrett Brooks. Once again, welcome back to the Sunday Spread. Devan Kaney, Sean Bell, Barrett Brooks, presented by BetMGM on the BetQL network. Moving through these games, giving you some winning bets, and we got to, we're in Philadelphia. So we got to talk about the team that, undefeated. It doesn't feel like it's undefeated in Philadelphia, all right? There's only 2 teams undefeated, but yet we act like we ain't one of them. Look at Barrett. He was just with Pittsburgh, then he with Philly.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I collected many checks from many owners.
He's like, yo, if you gave me a nice check, I respect you. Again, the Eagles taking on the Rams. Rams 2-2. Rams feisty, right? They're a competitive, good team. Not the team they were, obviously, when they went to the Super Bowl, but a team you can't just dismiss and overlook. Eagles 4-0, looked really good offensively last week, but terrible defensively. Everybody's throwing for yards against them. Washington just got destroyed and took the Eagles to overtime in this game. Philadelphia, again, traveling to the Rams, but it's, It's a home game if you go out there and play the
no
Rams.
question.
It's a home game for whoever you are, right?
Yeah.
It's a home game for the Eagles. It's a home game for Seattle, whoever the Rams play.
Right.
It's a home game for the other team. Philly favored in this game 4.5. Over under is 50. Money line minus 225 for Philly, plus 180 for the Rams. Dev, start with you. What are you thinking?
I'm nervous for this game, as an Eagles fan, as someone who covers the team. The Eagles' biggest weakness, in my opinion, right now is their secondary, their pass defense. It's not great. They're allowing way too many passing touchdowns. They're allowing way too many passing yards to opposing offenses. And, what does this Rams offense do best? What did they do best before they got Cooper Kupp back for this game?
Yes.
They throw the ball really well. And I'm nervous. I'm really nervous because I don't think for the Eagles it's necessarily a coaching issue. I think they just don't have, especially with, Avonte Maddox going out and injuries. Like, I think they just don't have the personnel. I know they brought in a nickel cornerback, but he's not going to play this game, I don't believe. So, yeah, I think it's going to be a higher scoring game because if the Eagles want to stay in this game, I think the defense is going to let up some points to the Rams. I think the Eagles offense is going to have to go off as well and answer back. So it has potential to be a shootout. Total 50 points. I like the over there. I think it goes over that. I'm feeling like a 34-28 score.
That's really cool.
High score.
They got veteran quarterback. Matthew Stafford's a veteran quarterback. I know he's off the board, but you give him if Cooper Kupp comes back, it'll be a tough day for this Eagles secondary.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we did say Sidney Brown is back. Justin Evans is back, so I think Justin Evans will be starting at the other safety position. Sidney Brown could probably play in that slot position. They liked him there when they put him there against Tampa Bay.
Mm-hmm.
They did bring in Bradley Roby, but you're right. I don't think they'll play. I don't think he can get up to speed that fast, especially at the nickel cornerback position, because when you're out on the outside, it's easy to play cornerback because you have the boundary. I mean, you have the sideline on both sides. When you're inside of that nickel corner, it's so many ways in which they can go. And that's the hardest thing to do because you don't know where your run support is, where you're supposed to be lined up at. It goes in motion, and you follow and you come. I mean, it's so much stuff that's involved with calling that game. And then, with me, I think the biggest matchup is the Sean versus Sean matchup. Sean McVay versus Sean Desai. That's going to be a huge matchup.
We know who's going to win.
Who?
That matchup between those coordinators. Sean McVay is going to win. It's just we're just going to count on Jalen Hurts and the offense scoring more. But let's be real.
That's my boy, but he always.
Let's be real. Like, Sean McVay is the better coordinator here, but it's just like, all right.
Sean McVay is a head coach.
And the
Sean
coordinator.
Desai is a coordinator.
But he's the head coach and the coordinator.
Well, yeah.
So it's the coordinator matchup there. It's not close. It's just
he's also got the experience.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, that's why it's and Matthew Stafford's number just came up 275.5. So that lets you know how much they think offensively. Now, I want to do a prop for Puka or Cooper.
Damn.
Because we were talking about both of those guys, whatever those props end up being, both of those guys do the same thing. Both of those guys are going to be in the same position. Mm-hmm. So one's going to take away from another. And just because this is their first game back, we don't know who's going to take away more from the other person. So I think that is a stat to avoid. But I could see them both getting off a little bit, though.
Bet the over on whichever one Josh Jobe is covering.
Precisely. So win-wise, do you think the Eagles – I think we all think the Eagles are going to win. Do we think the Rams can cover?
No.
Yes.
You think it's going to be more – oof. There's a no and a yes.
I'm thinking no. I just don't think that. I think they are going to cover. Yes, Matthew Stafford is good, but this will be a game. Our front was embarrassed this last game.
Mm-hmm.
Embarrassed, and I think they're going to send pressure. I think they're going to make sure that they make it very uncomfortable for Matthew Stafford back there, which is going to open things up for. Our guys, maybe getting a couple turnovers and things of that nature. One thing that I think is maybe a little too high for both guys is A.J. Brown, 75.5, and Devontae Smith, 63.5. Both guys that high?
Mm-hmm. I mean, that means they think they're both going to both going to do their thing. But again, I think Matthews it's going to be Puka and Cooper are the exact type of wide receivers to give Bradbury and Slate problems. Like I'm going to route you up, and I'm going to sit on a short pass. So if Matthew's able to get the ball out in 2.5 seconds, it's going to be a long day. But again, I think we all think Eagles are going to win the game. You think it's going to be close. Rams cover. You think it's going to be over 4.5. So we'll see. Let's move on to the next one. Bengals Cardinals. The Cardinals we expected to be 1-3. The Bengals we did not.
No.
Okay, Joe Burrow is still. And now that it's obvious that his leg issues ain't going away, and it's a problem. So it's no fault of his own, but he's fighting through some things. But still, it's the Cardinals that they have to face. And the Cardinals have been feisty in some games, so I'm not going to take total credit away from them. Josh Dobbs has been surprisingly pretty well, especially because he just got there right before the season. They said go in there and play. Cincinnati
he
favored.
Did the same thing with the Titans last year.
Yeah, Cincinnati favored in this game -3 over under 44.5. Cincy -160 with the money line. Arizona +135. Dev, what you thinking?
I like the Bengals in this one. I think, the Cardinals being better than everyone thinks they're going to be, and that whole narrative, I think that's going to play itself out. I think that the Bengals are the better team. I think Joe Burrow is going to work out whatever is bothering him and keeping him from playing like the quarterback he has been in the past few seasons. I just think that the Bengals are a better team, and it's going to They're due to bounce back in this one, and no better time to bounce back than against an Arizona Cardinals team that is not very good.
Okay,
I think Joe Burrow's gonna go for over 300 yards.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Like he's due for a bounce back game.
Yeah, Jamar Chase, he's gonna get 100 yards on Sunday. I think Joe Mixon also goes for 100 yards on the ground. They need balance in order for that offense to work. And if you look at the rushing yards, you got Connor and Joe Mixon, both guys 68.5. I don't think James Conner will have that. I think Joe Mixon will, and I think that's the reason why they'll win this game.
What makes y'all so confident, man? Like the Bengals have scored 3 points, 24 points, 19 points, and 3 points. Joe Burrow threw for 100 against the Titans last week when they lost 27-3, threw for 165 yards. It's a bad football team. Like I think we all are waiting because I bet on them to win and make their spread in the first 3 games. And that was all based off what we thought of the Cincinnati Bengals. But if we just based off what we watched, they can't do nothing.
But neither can the Cardinals.
No, that's true.
Like it's not like it's like, oh, I mean, the Cardinals are a good team. It's the perfect spot for the Bengals offense to get right and start looking like the team that, we all expect them to. And look, I don't like that everyone immediately blames just Joe Burrow's injury for their one injury, and I get he's your quarterback, but that still doesn't make up for the fact that you barely put up any points and have done much at all offensively. But the Cardinals aren't good. Jonathan Gannon isn't a good coach. I just think that this is the perfect spot for the Bengals to bounce back, to look a little bit better. I'm not saying they're going to look like Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce out there, but I'm saying they're going to look like a decent team, not the awful team that we've seen in recent weeks.
I mean, they should. They should. And I'm going to go Joe Mixon over 68.5. I think they really feed him the rock and try to take things out of Joe Burrow's hand and let him ease into the game a little bit. So that's where I'm going with that. Let's go to the next game. Jets.
Do we have to?
Broncos. The Jets and the Broncos, both 1-3. The Jets, we know why they're 1-3, right? We know why. Aaron Rodgers went out and it sort of said, all right, season over. The Broncos, well, y'all just suck. I don't know if y'all have heard all the things coming out about Russell Wilson and from the Club Shay Shay podcast. Have y'all heard any of that?
No.
Where basically Russell Wilson, it's Marshawn Lynch talking about Russell Wilson and his time. And, Marshawn never really talks, but his time with Russ and talking about how Russ was so standoffish, basically. Like, Russ has his own office away from the players.
Which is ridiculous.
He has his own office away from the players. And Russ was talking about when he played with Marshawn was like, I wanted to call Russ, so I asked somebody for his number. the guy didn't give Marshawn his number. Instead, Russ calls him from a blocked number. And he was like, I got to do all this just to get I'm the starting running back. I got to do all this to get in contact with my starting quarterback.
Yeah.
And he was trying to tell him, yo, I got your back. You know, I know this last game you didn't have the game you wanted, but I balled out. But it'll be the reverse next time. Like, when I don't ball out, you going to pick us up. And he dismissed him and was rude to him. And apparently they got into it a little bit because he was that way. And Russ has always been that way. And apparently, you know, Shannon Sharp was talking about how he brought that attitude to Denver. On top of the fact that Coach Carroll said, from now on, guys, if you want to talk to Russ, you got to go through me or the offense coordinator.
That's just shocking that a coach like Pete Carroll would be okay with that. Or Sean Payton. I feel like Sean Payton is a very, like, no BS.
I thought he got rid of that office.
Right.
You know, like Sean's my guy. No, Sean was my he was my quarterback coach. He was the quarterback coach in Philly my first year.
Maybe he did, but I know Shannon Sharp said he had his own office. You know, Shannon, former Bronco, great.
Yep.
So I don't know if he got rid of it or still has it to this point, but that was the case even a couple weeks ago. And Shannon said he brought that attitude to Denver, and which is the reason why a lot of guys don't F with him.
And that was the demise of that team, because he didn't want the Legion of Boom. He wanted to be the showstopper. And because of that, it really put things in an awkward position, because you can't tell the best defense in the league, all right, we ain't banging with you because, you know, we need to talk to the coach to talk to you. Now, you're supposed to come talk to us. We're the old heads here. This is our team. We won the Super Bowl. You didn't win the Super Bowl. We won the Super Bowl.
Like, I can't call you. Like, I get it. Not everybody hangs out. It's a large locker room. Like, we all not going to be boys.
Right.
But if I need to get in contact with you,
right,
as your starting running back, I can't contact you. I got to receive a blocked number like you Michael Jackson calling me.
Well, and it tells you everything you need to know about how Russell Wilson views himself compared to the rest of his teammates.
Yes.
Which is the problem.
Yeah.
And on the other hand,
that way.
back to this game, which is the reason why I'm not picking the Broncos to win any game for the rest of the season. Zach Wilson showed something last week.
He did.
And you were saying perfect spot for Joe Burrow. I think this is a perfect spot for Zach Wilson. All right, I played well last game, didn't get the win. You saw him on the sideline saying, I cost his team the game. I think this game, he helps win this game. So I'm liking Zach Wilson in this game. I'm liking the Jets to win this game, not only cover, to flat out win this game, even though it's at Denver. And for Zach Wilson to have a really good outing, 203.5. He goes over that for me. What you got, Dev?
So I agree. Sorry, I wasn't sure if you were going to Barrett or me first. I was waiting.
You know what I mean? I'm a point guard. Always be ready. Throw it up by the rim. Somebody got to catch it.
After all the trash we just talked on Russell Wilson, the Broncos, like, they are favorites in this one. They do have, like, the biggest advantage Denver has playing at home is, you know, where they're playing at, the altitude and all that. I still think the Jets cover, especially because they are underdogs in this spot. They're coming off their best game of the season. You mentioned Zach Wilson. I think they're going to be extra motivated because not just coming off a loss, coming off a game where they almost beat the reigning Super Bowl champions in front of Taylor Swift and Ryan Reynolds. Okay.
Goodness.
I'm sorry. That's like the only time I'm going to mention her because I'm so sick of it.
Hugh Jackman. I was excited to see Hugh.
Right? Like, why are we not mentioning the other people?
Wolverine and
there?
Deadpool were
I was
there.
excited to see Ryan Reynolds. Okay. And Sansa Stark. But the Broncos.
That's right. Sansa was there.
She was. Oh. The Broncos' rush defense is not good. So I like the Jets covering that 2.5 point spread. I also like I don't think Zach Wilson necessarily needs to pop off through the air. Like, I think the Jets can win this on the ground. I think Breece Hall, it's a perfect opportunity for him to have a great game. I like over 59.5 rush yards for Breece Hall in this one. And yeah, I think the Jets get it done. Yeah. I'll be rooting for the Jets. You know, they need it. They've had a bit of bad luck recently.
Yeah. So your fan base deserves this little
but
donut.
Not as much as Russell Wilson deserves to be beat by the Jets.
Yeah, take this L. I'm with you, Barrett. We got like 40 seconds left. What you got on this game?
I'm going with the Jets also. You know, it's not by much, but yeah, I'm going with the Jets. And it's rudimentary though. It's because Garrett Wilson's from the crib, and I see him getting over 59.5 yards. And I just don't like Russell Wilson.
I love that. This is all fueled by just like dislike for person, which is rare. Like, you have to be a special kind of bad person for us to
Dev
make
was saying
picks.
Dev was saying it in week 1 when we discussed the Denver Broncos, and now it's like more information coming out. We're like, get him out of there. Listen, we got to take another break. When we'll come back, we'll talk about the reigning Super Bowl champs taking on the Vikings, Cowboys, Niners, which may be the game of the week, a game that, Philadelphia will enjoy whoever loses. You know what I mean? That's where we're coming from at this point.
I hope both teams lose.
Yeah, both teams lose, but whoever loses, we'll be happy with it. Listen, this is the Sunday Spread. Sean Bell, Barrett Brooks, Devan Kaney. We'll be right back. Once again, welcome back to the Sunday Spread. Sean Bell, Devan Kaney, Barrett Brooks kicking it with you. Don't forget your $10 bonus bet. All right, we'll talk about where we're going to spend our $10 bonus bet on in the last segment. There's a bunch of games that I think, we're real confident in with that bonus bet, but we'll tell you in the next segment. Right now, let's continue with 2 more games that we're looking at to bet for today. This first one is the Kansas City Chiefs at the Minnesota Vikings. Chiefs favored in this game, 3.5 over under 52.5, money line 190 for the Chiefs. Vikings plus 155. Barrett, I'll start with you. What do you like in this game?
This is a game that I'm looking forward to seeing, man, because when you look at Kirk Cousins, he is Mr. Stats. You know what I'm saying? He is Mr. Stats. He can go out there and throw for a lot of yards, and he can do a lot of scoring, man. I don't know if the Chiefs defense can stop Justin Jeffries, T.J. Hawkins, and Jordan Addison. All right, I'm gonna say it right now. I think I'm going with the Chiefs. Not the Chiefs. I'm going Chiefs will win. But I'm going with I'm going with the mere fact that this team will not be able to cover the spread.
Ooh, okay.
Minnesota plays them very, very competitively, and I think the Chiefs just barely squeak by.
I like it.
Listen, I'm gonna tell you, we were talking about just awfulness, awful week. Remember, I don't know if y'all remember. Last week I talked about, hey, Kirk Cousins throws 300 every week. Justin Jefferson's gonna get 100 yards. Yep. This is an easy parlay. Easy. I parlayed Kirk going for over 300 yards. I parlayed Justin Jefferson go over 100 yards. I parlayed T.J. Hawkinson with that going over 50 yards. Kirk Cousins threw for 139 yards last week. 139 yards against the Carolina Panthers. I was disgusted. I kept refreshing because I wasn't watching the game, so I was refreshing. I kept refreshing in confusion. I said, no way. Why is it stuck
can't
here?
Be right.
Why is it stuck here? Why does it say he has 70 yards in the third quarter? What's stuck here? Wasn't stuck. So now I don't know if I can just go with the automatic Kirk Cousins throwing for 300 because, again, the over-under for him is 292.
Well, that's why I'm going with it this week. It'll be an anomaly that he's not going to do it 2 days. I mean, two games in a row. And I just think that, I think Mahomes is in cruise control. I think the Chiefs are in cruise control.
Deb, what you think?
So, I think it's very possible that the Vikings can cover. I think the Chiefs, I haven't figured them out yet. I can't figure out if they're like the elite Super Bowl winning dynasty that they have been, or they barely beat the Jets last week. But then on the other hand, we talk about the inconsistencies so far this season. You look at like the Eagles were taken to OT by the Commanders, who got crushed by the Bears. Nothing makes sense so far this season because it is still early. So it's hard for me to confidently be like, oh yeah, the Chiefs are definitely going to win and cover that 3.5 point spread. I think it's a good game for Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce to kind of find their groove. Travis Kelce hasn't really had the numbers that he typically has. He missed the first game of the season with injury. And then I believe he only has 1 touchdown. So I like a Travis Kelce anytime touchdown. I also like over 76.5 receiving yards because the Vikings rush defense is okay. They're very bad on the back end in their secondary against the pass. So I like over receiving yards for not just Travis Kelce, maybe even over passing yards for Mahomes, even though 291.5 is a little high. And Justin Jefferson over 104.5 is always a lock. He always goes off.
He should. But again, he didn't throw for 150 last week. That's what makes me so. That's what makes me so nervous. And even with that Kansas City Chiefs game,
Well, he didn't have to because
That's
they were
not
playing the
cousin-esque.
Panthers.
Yeah,
but you would think in the first half, you would think
it's not
it'd
much
just
to
be an
ask.
explosion against Carolina Panthers. You go back to the Kansas City Chiefs. Another parlay I think I had was for Pat to throw over 250 yards. He threw for 203 yards against the New York Jets. I'm like, what are we doing here? Then all of a sudden, Isaiah Pacheco goes for 150, which a really good player, but normally it's not that. It's okay. Pacheco gave you 70 while Patrick Mahomes threw for 300. So it's very confusing. Few teams have looked like Super Bowl contenders this year. Like everybody has had like a game and a half of
where it's like, wait, what?
What are you doing? Like everybody has had that. So there's nobody you go, oh yeah, you Super Bowl champs like from the get go. Usually by week 5, it's like these 4 teams.
Yeah.
And we think we know. You have the Eagles, Niners, Chiefs, but Miami, but they haven't all looked that way through the majority of their games. So it's just annoying. But I'm with you. I think I have to pick Kansas City.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I have to pick Kansas City to win this game. I have to pick that.
Let me write this down.
The numbers will go back. Minnesota, you know what I mean? Like Kurt's this should be a little bit of a shootout, right? Should be a mini shootout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Based on all the weapons that you're going to have in this game. You got the best tight end in the game. You got the best quarterback in the game. You got the best wide receiver in the game. All playing in this game.
Then you got the highest paid tight end in the game.
Yeah.
Right there.
So, I'm with you with the Kansas City Chiefs, but it's a nervous one for me. It's a nervous. Let's get to the next one, which may be the game of the week. Cowboys at San Francisco. Cowboys 3-1. Niners 4-0. Niners may be the only team that's looked not great, but really good in every single game. Niners favoring this game 3.5 over under 45. Again, the Cowboys, this has been their hiccup the last 2 seasons. The 49ers have bounced them out of the playoffs, and Dak Prescott has played woefully in both of those games. One of those games where I look at it and say, okay, the Eagles are going to be happy either way. Right? As people who are in Philadelphia covering the Eagles. Cowboys need this game more than anybody, though. Right? Like, if the Cowboys have 2 losses, they're 2 games behind the Eagles, potentially. They'll be 2 games behind the San Francisco 49ers. So 2 games behind in the division, 2 games behind in the number 1 seed. 49ers, if they lose, it's like, all right, but I'm still a game behind, and I'm still owning my division.
Well, and 49ers, if they lose, now we have to suffer the wrath of Cowboys fans and Jerry Jones bragging about the fact that they beat the 49ers all week. That's why I'm rooting for the Niners in this one.
That's what I was going to ask. Like, the 49ers and Cowboy hate has been equal over the last year for Philadelphia.
Yeah.
So y'all room for the Niners in this one.
I am. I personally am. I know a lot of people who are rooting for the Cowboys just because the 49ers are also undefeated and a little bit scarier right now. I mean, look, if I could have both these teams lose, I would. But I just think the 49ers, if they win, there's no need to, give the Cowboys any bigger heads than they need. Like, I just, the gloating and everyone talking about how the Cowboys are going to go to the Super Bowl if they beat the 49ers, like, that's just going to be unbearable, at least for me personally. But also, I think it gives the Eagles the best chance moving forward, like when it comes to the playoffs, because it helps them win the NFC East. So they have like that home field advantage, first round bye, where 49ers, like, yeah, they're annoying and they're still whining about when the Eagles crushed them in the playoffs last season, but it doesn't really affect the Eagles in the more immediate future. So I'm rooting for your boy Brock Purdy and the Niners in this one.
So that's your heart. What does your head say?
The 49ers are going to win. Both are on the same page here.
Okay. Money line or?
I'll take the cover. 3.5. Niners minus 3.5. Yeah.
What you got, Barrett?
I ain't gonna. I really don't even want to talk about that. I ain't gonna lie, man. I mean, I look at both quarterbacks, and I hate both quarterbacks.
What Brock do?
Yeah,
just a nice kid.
Just be a scared little boy. I'm surprised we didn't get a Brock Purdy monologue before this game, like we usually get from you.
Right. Because he knows Dallas might be.
I mean, why?
Yeah, wait.
Brock just does
as
what he
Brock
does.
Purdy's #1 fan, like, how are you feel? We aren't the ones who should be answering these questions, Sean. You're the one that needs to tell us, like, are you scared? Who do you have in this one? Are you confident in Brock Purdy?
I can see Dallas win. I'm confident in Brock Purdy. There's no doubt. I can see Dallas winning. I think the 49ers are going to win because the 49ers are tougher. Right? Like, I think the 49ers, the reason why they continue to beat the Cowboys is because they're tougher, both mentally and physically.
Well,
both mentally and physically, they punk them every single year. The reason why the Eagles wouldn't be as scared of the 49ers because the Eagles are also tougher in both mentally and physically. So the 49ers and Eagles, when they're all healthy, will be, you know what I mean? Like when the Eagles beat the Niners, I don't say to myself, oh, they're tougher. I just say they're better.
Mm-hmm.
When the 49ers beat the Cowboys, I say they're tougher.
Right.
They're just tougher. And even Brock Purdy, I think, is mentally tougher than Dak Prescott.
Well, he's more consistent too.
Yeah, so I just think the 49ers win this game. I think they, especially because they're at home, I personally think whoever goes to the Super Bowl this year will be the 1 seed. Mm-hmm. Whether it's the Eagles, Niners, or Cowboys, those three teams, whoever has home field will win, will go to the Super Bowl. That's my personal opinion. So so in this game with the Cowboys and Niners, I think the Niners win because they're home, because they're tougher, they can punk them. Christian McCaffrey is a freak of nature, and is going to score a touchdown at some point. And overall, I think Kyle Shanahan is just going to out scheme the Dallas Cowboys and win this game.
Plus, Michael Parsons is kind of hobbled also. I think he has a knee issue. I think he's going to play, but there is a slight chance he doesn't play in this game. So that's definitely a major.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
If he doesn't play, they'll
So who you got in the game?
I got to go with the 49ers.
That was just painful for him to say. I've never seen someone like not able to say something because they just didn't want to.
I really didn't
you had to
want
force that one out.
I was really trying to get us to go to another game, but you guys just intended.
Well, this is the best game of the week.
Yeah, and it's the last game too that we talking about. I was trying.
It hurt your soul. It shouldn't hurt your soul this morning. Embrace Brock Purdy. Embrace what he's doing right now. The man is balling. The 49ers have scored over 30 points in every game. Since Brock Purdy became the number 1 starter, they've scored in every game he started and finished, they averaged 32 points a game. No matter who they play, when he starts and finishes, they average 32 points a game. And I'm not saying Brock is a great, unbelievably great quarterback, but he knows how to work Kyle Shanahan's system.
Yep.
He knows how to work it. And now with Christian McCaffrey doing what he does, another thing that pissed me off last week, because I usually win my 49ers bets.
Yeah.
Lost my 49er bet because Brock Purdy threw for 2 touchdowns. He gets 2 touchdowns every game. 2 times he threw it to somebody and they got stopped on the 1 yard line. And then ended up running the ball. So he did end up getting a second touchdown, but it was a quarterback sneak. I was like, are you kidding me right now? Are you kidding me? Even Brock is losing me bets right now because Christian McCaffrey wants to get tackled in a 1 yard line. Then they go, okay, give Christian another carry. I said, I got my anytime touchdown, the first touchdown. You don't need 3 more, Christian. You're losing me money here. So, just another rant I had to go on. I usually don't give you bad 49er rants, but
that was used to it.
That was an annoying situation with them. But again, I just think they're going to punk them in this entire situation. Big Trent Williams is going to punk people. And the Cowboys ain't tough.
That's what he does, though, man. That's what he does. He punks everybody. Remember he said, he said, boy, watch this. He says, well, do it. Wow. He didn't even finish. Do it then. Wow.
Yeah.
Richard Sherman.
Yeah. Trent, that's one strong dude. So they don't want no smoke with that. All right. When we come back, we'll give you our bonus bets, our $10 bonus bet, our player props, everything that we like through the entire week that we think is going to win you some money. Sean Bell, Barrett Brooks, Devan Kaney. This is the Sunday Spread.